I'm Mara, a street photographer with worn boots and a camera that never leaves my side. I live to capture the gritty smiles of kids at the East Hollow shelter, where every shot tells a story. My sister Lila reigns over penthouses and wealthy friends, though. At her lavish gala, surrounded by glittering elites, she mocked me. She called my work a little hobby and me a charity case, her laughter slicing through me like a blade. My heart pounded, but I challenged her. "Live my life for a day," I said. She agreed with that smug grin, thinking it'd be easy. What a shock awaited her. Rain, broken gear, and a secret from a shelter girl unraveled her completely. I never expected Lila to see the truth I'd hidden, the power in those photos. From rivals, we forged something extraordinary together. Her eyes begged for understanding in the end, and I gave it. Want to know how I turned my haughty sister's world upside down, made her cry, and built a bond from the ashes? Step into my story. It'll make you laugh, ache, and hold your breath until the last frame. I'm Mara, a street photographer with worn boots and a camera that never leaves my side. I live to capture the gritty smiles of kids at the East Hollow shelter, where every shot tells a story. It's a crisp morning in Crestwood, the air biting just enough to keep me sharp, and I'm crouched in the shelter's courtyard, adjusting my lens to frame Sasha's grin. She's a quiet 13-year-old with a smile that breaks through the dirt on her cheeks, like sunlight on cracked pavement. The shutter clicks, a sound that's been my anchor since I was a kid, and I smile back, my heart swelling. These kids, this place, they're why I do this. Every photo I take is a piece of their world, proof they're seen. I've poured everything into it, late nights editing in my tiny apartment, skipping meals to buy film. I'm brushing a stray hair from my face, my bun already loosening, when my phone buzzes in my pocket. I pull it out, balancing my camera on my knee, and see Lila's name on the screen. My stomach twists, a mix of hope and dread. She's coming for a family gala tonight, her first visit in months, and I've been rehearsing what to say, hoping she'll understand. "Hey, darling," she says, her voice sharp and clipped, like she's already halfway out her penthouse door in Crestwood's fancy district. "I'll be there by evening. Don't make a fuss, all right? Just a quick stop." I stand, leaning against the shelter's chipped wall, the kids' laughter echoing behind me. "Got it. I'm working on an exhibit, though. Photos from the kids here. It's coming together." She laughs, cold and quick, a sound that slices through me like a blade. "An exhibit? Oh, Mara, please. You're still playing with that little hobby of yours." A charity case, slumming it with those kids. My heart pounds, and I grip the phone tighter, my knuckles whitening. The words land hard, each a jab to the chest. A charity case. That's what she thinks of me, after all this time. My work, my fight, they're nothing to her, just a speck she'd flick off her heels. I see us as kids, the memory sharp. I'm 10, fiddling with Dad's old camera in the backyard, while Lila, 12, bursts in with her debate trophy, all shine and pride. "Look what I won," she'd crowed, and I'd grinned, showing her a blurry shot of the neighbor's dog. She'd ruffled my hair, her eyes soft, and we'd sat on the grass, the sunset warm. I thought we were close, two sisters sharing dreams. But she grew up and out, chasing penthouses and wealthy friends, while I stayed, chasing light through a lens. Somewhere, she decided, I wasn't enough. "Mara? You there?" Her voice cuts through and I blink, the courtyard coming back into focus. "Yeah, I'm here," I say, my voice harder than I mean. "You think it's so easy, huh? Capturing these lives, making them matter? If it's such a little hobby, come live my life for a day." The words spill out, a challenge I can't take back. There's a pause, then her laugh, lighter, like she's savoring a game. "Fine, little sister, I'll do it. One day in your sad shelter won't break me. I'll come tomorrow." She hangs up, and I'm left staring at my camera, my pulse loud in my ears. Tomorrow. What have I done? What if she breaks my lens? Or worse, ruins the trust I've built with these kids? I swallow hard, doubt creeping in. but it's drowned by the fire she lit. I turn back to Sasha, who's still grinning, and snap another shot. The shutter clicks, steady and sure, a rhythm I've known since I was small. East Hollow stretches around me, kids kicking a ball, the walls scuffed but warm with life. This is my world, maybe not glamorous, but mine. I've fought for it, stayed up nights editing, pawned my own stuff to keep going. Lila doesn't see that. She never has. Her life's all gala lights and city shine, built on wealth and charm. I just want her to feel this, the weight of what I do. A charity case. The phrase stings, bitter and raw. I think of Sasha, who hugged me when I gave her a print, or Tommy, who smiles bigger when I show up. This matters. I pack my gear, the camera heavy in my hands, a quiet promise. That's me, I tell myself, stubborn and clear, framing what matters. She's wrong, but she won't know unless I show her. I sling the strap over my shoulder, dust on my boots, and glance at the shelter's door. It's been my anchor since I started, its chaos a comfort when everything else shook. Tomorrow, she'll walk in here, into my messy, real life, and I'll step into hers. I don't know what I'll find in her world, but this is where I stand. I mutter to the empty courtyard. I'm not a charity case, Lila. You'll see. My voice is soft, but it's mine, and it holds me steady. The kids laugh nearby, the city hums, and I wait for her to face what she's mocked. I wake before dawn, my tiny apartment in Crestwood quiet, except for the hum of the city outside, knowing Lila's on her way. My alarm buzzes at 5, but I'm already up, picturing her pulling into East Hollow with her sleek car, probably wrinkling her nose at the shelter's cracked pavement. She'd agreed to this swap like it was a lark, a chance to prove me wrong, and I'd handed her my life with a warning last night. I told her about the early start, the kids, the camera, my voice tight on the phone, but she'd laughed that sharp city laugh, dripping with confidence. Now I'm heading to her penthouse in Crestwood's fancy district, a short drive across town, while she steps into my world of shutter clicks and chaos. Before leaving, I leave a note on the shelter's table, scratched out quick. Set up the camera by 6, shoot the kids, don't break my lens. Good luck. I lock the door with a smirk, the cold air sharp on my cheeks. She's never held a camera beyond a selfie. I sling my bag over my shoulder and head out, the city waking slow under the gray morning, my gut a knot of nerves and spite. I reach her building as the sun peeks out, the penthouse looming above me, all glass and steel. I fumble with her keycard, ride the elevator up, and step into her space. It smells like lavender and wealth, everything smooth and spotless, a far cry from the shelter's scuffed walls. I drop my bag by the marble counter and brew her fancy tea, the kind I'd never buy on my budget. The skyline glints through the window, cold and distant, like it's judging me. I settle on her plush sofa, the cushions swallowing me, and sip the tea, waiting for her to crack. She's in my chaos now, and I'm in her shine. My phone stays quiet until noon, then it buzzes with her name, her voice frayed, nothing like the polished tone I'm used to. "This is exhausting, darling," she says, sounding like she's been run ragged. "How do you do this every day?" I grin, the tea bitter on my tongue. "You wanted to try. How's Sasha?" She groans, her frustration clear. That little imp laughed when I dropped the lens cap. "Your camera's impossible." I picture her, sweat on her brow, wrestling the settings I know by heart. Sasha's a sweetheart, but she's cheeky, and I bet she teased Lila hard. I almost feel a twinge of pity, imagining her flustered, her perfect nails smudged with dirt. What if she's scaring the kids, making them shy away from the lens I've worked so hard to make safe? But then I hear her laugh from last night, calling me a charity case, her words slicing through me all over again. No, she asked for this. I'd warned her it wasn't easy, and she'd brushed me off. Now she's learning. I lean back, letting her stew in it. This is my life, she mocked. The dawn wake-ups, the kids who don't sit still. Let her carry it. I wander her penthouse, running my fingers over her polished things. A photo sits on the shelf. Us as teens, me with a cheap camera, her in a prom dress, all glitter and grace. I remember that night, the way she'd begged me to snap her picture before she left for the dance. I'd stayed up, the dark room warm around me, developing the print with careful hands. She'd hugged me tight when I gave it to her, her perfume sharp. "Thanks, little sis," she'd said. I'd felt big in her shadow for once. Now I wonder if she even recalls it, or if I'm just a faded negative in her mind. I shake it off and open her fridge, stocked with fancy cheeses and sparkling water. I grab a bottle, twist the cap, and drink, the fizz biting my tongue. Her world so perfect, so empty, like a frame with no subject. My phone rings again, late afternoon, and her voice is ragged, breathless. "The rain broke my setup," she says, panting like she's still catching air. "I got it inside, but the tripod's done. I'm soaked, Mara." I sit up, tea sloshing. "What? You're kidding." Her voice cracks, the darling gone. I didn't know it was this hard. My arms are killing me. I blink, seeing her stumble through the downpour, camera gear heavy, hair plastered to her face. The shelter's roof leaks sometimes, and I've hauled gear myself, my back screaming after. I hadn't figured she'd hit that wall today, not with my tripod breaking. My smirk fades, and my chest squeezes. She's not supposed to crumble, not like this. I'd wanted her humbled, sure, but that crack in her voice, the rawness of it, hits me. She's Lila, the golden sister, always ahead, always untouchable. Right now she sounds human, and it shakes me. I set the bottle down, the fizz flat, and stare out her window. The city stretches below, a web of lights, nothing like my quiet alleys. I think of my camera back there, steady in my hands, framing what others miss. That's me, tough and patient, capturing what matters. Today, Lila's not the perfect shot I always saw her as. She's blur and sweat, like me. I'd wanted her to taste my dirt, but that ragged breath lingers, sharp and soft, like a thread pulling loose. I'd warned her last night, told her it was hard, and she's not laughing now. Neither am I. My spite's still there, simmering, but it's mixed with something else, a flicker I can't name. I mutter to the empty room. "Keep going, Lila. You're not done yet." The words float out, half taunt, half wish, and I wait for what's next. I barely sleep. The penthouse is quiet, too heavy, and by morning I'm restless, pacing Lila's polished floor. She's still at East Hollow, facing another day I'd warned her about, and I'm stuck in her sterile world. I brew her fancy tea, the steam sharp in the air, and check my phone. Nothing yet. I picture her back there, the camera fighting her hands, the kids running wild. She'd called last night, winded from hauling gear in the rain, her voice frayed, the tripod already broken. I'd felt a flicker of something then, but now it gnaws at me, that rawness in her words. I sip the tea, bitter and warm, and wonder how much she can take before she shatters. My life's a beast, and she's feeling its teeth. I settle on her sofa, the city skyline dull outside, and wait for her to buckle. My phone buzzes mid-morning, and it's her, sounding spent. "Everything's a mess, Mara," she says, her voice rough, no trace of her usual polish. "A kid dropped my tripod again, the camera's stuck, and I ruined a whole roll of film. I gave up after that." I lean forward, imagining the chaos. "Tough break." "You holding up?" She laughs, thin and jagged. "Holding up? I'm done. My hands are trashed." "Look." A photo comes through, her palms blistered, dirt under her nails. I flinch. Those are my marks, my fight, but on her skin. I'd wanted her to stumble, but this cuts deeper. I mutter to the room, half to her. "You're stronger than I figured." She doesn't hear, but I mean it, and it rattles me. Then her assistant calls, voice high and clipped. I'd skimmed Lila's emails last night, trying to prepare for these interruptions, her life's little fires. "Lila? Where are you? The gala's tonight and the sponsor's bailing. I stumble, then steady my tone. I'm tied up. Fix it. She grumbles and hangs up, and I slump back, pulse racing. Lila's world spins fast, all glitz and pressure, and I'm tripping through it. I'd rather frame a shot than play her part, but here I am. My phone goes quiet, and I pace her space, the fridge humming, the walls too clean. It's hollow here, like a house nobody lives in. I think of East Hollow, the kids' laughter, Sasha's grin. Lila's there now, sinking in it, and I feel the strain. Late afternoon, she calls again, her voice low, almost broken. I found your portfolio, Mara, she says, her tone softer than I've ever heard. Under the table, those prints, all your notes for the exhibit. I freeze, my breath short. That folder's my heart, dreams in ink, shots that don't sell. She wasn't meant to find it. Yeah, I say, careful. That's mine. She pauses, then speaks, her voice unsteady. You've been pushing for this? All those hours? I swallow. Every single day. She breathes out, shaky. Sasha cried today. Said you gave her a voice, kept her seen. She showed me the print you gave her, the one with her smile. I asked about her yesterday, but I didn't get it then. I didn't know. My throat closes up. Sasha's my rock, quiet but fierce, and I'd stretched thin to lift her. That print, the one I gave her months ago, was a promise. She matters. Lila's seeing that now, the pulse of my life. I pace her floor, the marble cool under my feet. You never cared to look closer, Lila. You just looked past me. She's silent, then a sniff, like tears are close. I'd wanted her to see me, but this, her breaking, it's more than I'd aimed for. I drop onto her sofa, the cushions deep, and run a hand through my hair. I see us at 16, her sneaking out for a boy, me guarding her secret. She'd begged me to cover, her eyes big. Don't tell, Mara, please. I'd agreed, heart pounding, and she'd hugged me, her hair soft against my face. I'd felt tall then, needed. Now I wonder if she holds that memory, or if it's lost under her city gloss. I'd thought this swap would flatten her, show my worth, but it's splitting me open too. She's not just the star sister now, not with blisters and a sniff. I'm mad she dismissed me, but that sound, Sasha's truth through her, it's tearing my edges. I whisper to the room, you don't get it yet, but maybe you might. The words settle, quiet and real, and I feel them shift me inside. I step to her window, the city rolling out below, a knot of steel and glow. Back at East Hollow, she's ruining film, holding Sasha, finding my hopes. I think of those shots, blurry and rough, not waste, but true. That's me, scarred and standing. She's touching that now, and it's bigger than I'd planned. I'd warned her it was tough, told her from the start, and she's not scoffing anymore. Neither am I. My anger's there, bubbling low, but it's woven with something softer, a tie I can't snap. I mutter to the empty space, you're falling, Lila, but I'm not steady either. The skyline looms, still and gray, and I wait for what's next. I drive back to East Hollow at dawn, the penthouse's shine fading in my rear view, my hands firm on the wheel. Lila's still at the shelter, her last call echoing in my head, that sniff over Sasha's story, her voice soft and broken. I'd left her there, cracked open, and now I'm coming home to face her. The road hums under my car, the sky streaked pink, and I wonder what's waiting. She'd found my portfolio, my fight, and I'd felt her world, its empty glow. This swap was meant to sink her, prove my point, but it's unraveled us both. I pull into the shelter as the sun rises, the building's faded sign ahead, and my chest tightens. Here we go. I step inside, the door creaking, and she's there, behind a table, shirt wrinkled, hands worn. She looks up, eyes red but calm, no trace of her old smirk. I set my bag by the door, the air thick with dust and something new. She steps closer, voice quiet. "I've never worked that hard, Mara," she says, her tone steady. "I'm sorry about your tripod and the film." "I didn't know." I nod slow and glance around. The place is a mess, gear scattered, prints on the floor, but it breathes. I meet her eyes. "Your penthouse felt dead. All polish, no pulse." She looks down, fingers twisting her sleeve, and nods back. We stand there, the silence full, two sisters laid bare. She speaks first, her words careful. "I want to help with the exhibit," she says, her voice firm. "Not charity. Respect." I blink, caught short. My portfolio's on the table, open to those raw prints, and she's touching it. Gentle. I swallow. "You mean it?" She nods. "Sure." "Yes." "And Tom's in too. He saw the photos I sent from your phone, raving about your work. Thinks I've got grit now." I laugh, sharp and free, the sound bouncing off the walls. Tom, her husband, bought my act, hooked by the photos I'd sent while pretending to be her. I shake my head. He's got no clue. She smiles, small but real. Let him think I've changed. We laugh together then, the tension snapping, and it feels good, like light after a storm. I step around the table, pointing to my camera. "For the exhibit." "Together?" She nods, and we move, side by side, sorting prints in rhythm. My hands know the frames, steady and sure, hers fumble but try. I see us as kids, me snapping her picture, her smiling through tears after Dad's yelling. She'd whispered thanks, her breath warm, and I'd felt close. That's rising again, soft and alive. The shelter hums around us, kids running by, its chaos a quiet promise, and I feel it, forgiveness creeping in, gentle but firm. We frame two prints, mine stark, hers softer, and set them for the exhibit tomorrow. We work through the afternoon, kids trickling by, Sasha holding her print, beaming with approval. The shelter buzzes, and she pauses, eyes distant, like she's somewhere else. I nudge her. "What's up?" She breathes out, slow. "I should have seen you sooner, Mara. I thought I was better. I wasn't." My throat catches, her words sharp and true. I'd wanted that, her seeing me, but hearing it stings fresh. I touch her arm, voice low. "You see me now. That's enough." She blinks fast, tears brimming, and nods. The prints sit ready, the exhibit tomorrow, and I think of those ruined shots, rough but real. That's us, not flawless, not waste, just here. She'd cut me with that laugh, but her hands, torn from my world, stitch something deeper. I'd needed her to know me, and she does, but I know her too, not just the star, but the girl who needed me once. I lean on the table, watching the prints dry. "You're not a charity case, Lila." She looks at me, eyes wet, and her voice cracks. "Neither are you." The words land, plain and full, and I feel us knit, not perfect, but whole. Sasha shuffles in, giggling. "Better today." She's got it. We smile, and I hand her a small print, fresh from the dark room. The day fades, and those prints will shine at the exhibit tomorrow, our hands in every frame. I step outside as the sun dips, the air sharp with city dust. Lila's inside, sorting gear, and I linger by the door, looking at her. Her laugh had burned me once, but her tears, her work here, they've changed everything. We're human, framing our way home, and that's what counts. The prints wait, 2 shots side by side, one stark, one soft, us together at last. I take a breath, the city quiet around me, and head back in. The shelter's still standing, the dark room warm and steady, and we found our place, right here. I stand in East Hollow as night falls, the prints ready for tomorrow's exhibit, their echo in the air. Looking back, Lila and I learned something real. Worth isn't about wealth, it's the fight you bring, the hearts you frame. She'd called me a charity case, and I'd burned to prove her wrong. But we found more, a bond sharper than a shutter, shaped through cracks. I needed her to see me, yet seeing her, raw and worn, showed we're alike under it all. She learned it too, beside me, that life's richer when you focus together. What about you? Ever had someone doubt you, miss your light? Did you fight to be seen, or mend it quiet? I learned from this, so tell me yours. I'd love to hear your story, your piece of truth. Share it below. Let's frame it out together. I'm not just the shutterbug now, and Lila's not just the star. We're sisters who shot through it all. The dark room's warm, the shelter's steady, and I'll be here, waiting with more to share. Until next time, keep capturing.